Good morning to all of you, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Let me start by saying that financial inclusion has become such a cliched phrase that everyone seems to be talking about it. Unfortunately, everyone stops with only talking about it. I therefore would like to embark on a slightly different context from where Preeti came from and say that where the opportunity lies in financial inclusion, what perhaps are the challenges and how we have to actually go about surmounting it. I believe that financial inclusion really means extending the frontiers of financial services, which can be done only by one plausible method, which is encouraging entrepreneurship. Financial inclusion is something which I understand as delivering certain financial services to as large a section as possible. These services obviously are in different categories. We've got saving products, which when delivered to them, we can see savings grow profitably over a period of time, thereby encouraging the savers to save more and more, making it therefore available to a much larger number of people, thereby improving the savings of the country and leading to economic growth. Protection products. Individuals and household require protection against accidents, and insurance comes into the picture at this point in time. So insurance products are again financial products which have to be made available. People have to get access to these products. But the most complex of them, and most important perhaps among all these services, I would say, are credit or loan products. We have to understand that entrepreneurship is what creates wealth in any community. If entrepreneurship is going down, then wealth creation process also comes down. We can talk about GDP growth. We can talk about a lot of things we need to do to improve GDP in the country. But GDP will just not go up on a sustained basis unless people are entrepreneurial, unless the culture that we create in the country is supportive of risk-taking. Risk-taking is indeed entrepreneurship, and when I say risk-taking, it means that when you get into a certain enterprise initially, normally, predominantly, most of the enterprises do not succeed. It takes a lot of effort, lot of losses, and after that, there is some success which you see, and that we believe is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means being ready, being prepared, and being willing to face losses. If entrepreneurship in a community does not develop and grow, and if the community doesn't support the growth of entrepreneurship, then we are bound to have much slower growth. To me, the excluded category of people, these are the people who do not have capital, they don't have access to credit and other services. As we see a lot of branch expansion on the part of banks, it is possible to make more and more services available to these people. But when it comes to lending money and providing capital for enterprise for small people, unless we find a way of doing it more and more as we go along to that segment of community, there will be very little opportunity to say that we have actually achieved financial inclusion. Unfortunately, talent is something which is universally spread. Talent is not the exclusive domain of any particular segment of society. It's available everywhere. But the opportunity for the talent to grow and flourish into an enterprise which creates wealth for the community is something which is not available everywhere. So when we deprive people, when the society deprives these people access to capital and to credit, then their native talent for entrepreneurship just stagnates and it doesn't find expression. And therefore entrepreneurship doesn't grow, and therefore wealth creation stops. That is the problem in most of the emerging markets. It is not only in India. How do we create opportunities for the majority of people to make use of their talent? How do you provide capital? How do you provide credit? How do we create an environment to enable this entrepreneurship to blossom? Unless these are provided with specifically credit and capital, which is really the challenge, financial inclusion is not going to grow. Problems are very clear. Solutions are not all that clear. The government, by nationalizing the banking industry, by acquiring monopoly over the savings of the community by and large, the thought process was that we will be able to provide all the support that the excluded category of people will require. That was the philosophy and that was the idea behind nationalization of banks. Then the thought process was, by nationalizing the banks, to extend their reach into the rural sector and to all parts of countries through branch expansion, we are going to make available financial services and provide financial inclusion. Then came the emphasis on priority sector. Define a sector which needs support and define them as priority and put pressure on banking industry to go after this segment because it is priority sector. These things are done and are done with very great enthusiasm and commitment on the part of the government. No complaints about it. At the end of which you find, despite all the statistics and data available in terms of penetration of branches, penetration of opening of new accounts and all that, the basic availability of bank credit to the excluded sector has only come down in the last 10 years. In spite of the fact that the priority sector has been defined, enough pressure has been mounted on the banking sector to look after the needs of this sector. At least statistics shows that the success has been achieved is not satisfactory at all, and there is a lot more which needs to be done. What I believe is any command and control style of management, which is characteristics of most organizations, which have all the powers and resources, which are centralized, can only reach this far. In the command and control approach, you design what should be done, you design what is the method by which these things should be done, and then you drive people to do this in the manner that has been prescribed. This is what we call command and control style of management. I would say that this is something which is not helpful to achieve new frontiers. When we work as a community or a society, we wanted the excluded category to be included. What we wanted was frontiers of the financial services to be extended. You have a particular area in which you're operating and you're operating quite well. You want to extend the frontier of your operation. You thought about getting into the financial inclusion space. Now, frontier in terms of extension cannot be done by the command and control style of management. Motivation is needed, encouragement is needed. People cannot be told that you have to do it in a particular manner. Then you monitor and then you believe it will succeed. It rarely happens. Yes, there are improvements here and there, as sporadic as they can be. But this command and control approach, where you give directions, where you force people to do certain things, does not achieve the necessary motivation levels which are needed for frontier extension. I would specifically say that we need entrepreneurial skills to come into the financial services industry and to achieve financial inclusion. If frontier extension has to take place, if people have to move into segments which are not hitherto served adequately, we need entrepreneurship to take these services to people. Nothing short of entrepreneurial talent will succeed. No amount of priority sector emphasis, no amount of allocation of extra funds that's going to provide the motivation to people who are supposed to deliver these things. And motivation has to come out of leadership and out of entrepreneurship. If you look at some of the examples of financial inclusion, initiatives that have been achieved, specifically in the area of credit, in the community in a very small way, you will find entrepreneurs like Sundaram Finance, which started in the early 60s. So did Motor and General Finance in the north, which again started in the early 60s. You have a very large number of chit fund companies all over the country. You have a large chit fund company in Andhra. You have a large chit fund company in Tamil Nadu. You have a lot of loan organizations which have created certain amount of financial inclusion, and all these are products of entrepreneurship.